Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Noon with Natalie. My name is Natalie Mayotte. I am a communication coach with Master Your Authentic Voice, and I'm very excited to be back today because the holiday season is upon us, and I can't think of anyone better to have on the show today but a sommelier. And Carl from Carl Knows Wine is part of my business network, and I thought, this is perfect. So before we get into it, Carl, I want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do. He really wants to demystify the world of wine for those who may find it intimidating. That I can completely understand. He's an accredited sommelier and an enthusiastic wine educator with the ability to communicate about the world of wine in a relaxed and casual atmosphere. And he has the knack for making the learning fun. And I'm all about fun. So how does he do it? Well, it's personalized, tailored approach to wine education, to event planning, execution, and the consultation services. And he really likes to work with local businesses looking to enhance their employee recognition, client appreciation events. And he also does lead-in home tastings for individuals. And I know he's doing them on Zoom right now, so we don't have to worry about, social distancing. So anybody who wants to host an entertaining wine-themed dinner party or gathering in their own home, Carl's the person you want to meet. Please help me welcome to Noon with Natalie, Carl Bird. Hey, Carl.
Hey, thanks, Natalie. It's awesome to be here. I'm so excited.
Super excited. Now, I know you created with your wife a wine advent calendar. I think this is one of my secret wants. I'm going to have to make sure it goes on the list for next year. And today's day 22, and you do have a wine that you've already pulled and you're going to tell us about.
I have.
Do you want to start with that?
Well, I thought I'd start with the whole concept of setting up the wine advent calendar was something I thought would be very exciting. And so how I did it, and I created it, I just took some old wine boxes that I had, wrapped them up in some nice Christmas paper, and then I filled the boxes with 24 bottles of wine. And then I said to my wife, just randomly put the numbers in the squares. So when I'm pulling it, I'm not sure what's coming out because I didn't plan what day to do what wine. I lie. A couple of them I did plan. I planned on the 8th of December, or the 10th, which was the start of Hanukkah. I pulled kosher wine. And then yesterday, 21st, which was the solstice and celebration of Yule in certain areas, I pulled a mead because mead is very, very Yule and pagan related.
Okay, great.
But today is, I can't believe it's day 22 of my Advent calendar. It means we're only like 3 days away.
So basically Christmas. What you're telling me is that we could sort of put this together on our own and see what happens.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun if two of you do it so that one's putting the wine in and the other's putting the dates on so you don't know what's coming up each day.
Good couple project. So what did you pull for today?
Here's what I pulled for today. So this is one of my favorite regions in the world for wine is the Montalcino region in Italy. Okay. And they make wines based on Sangiovese. And the famous wine from Montalcino is Brunello di Montalcino. And some of your listeners might know that if they like Italian wines, they'll know about Brunello di Montalcino. Yeah. This is what they call the baby Brunello. It's the Rosso di Montalcino. And Rosso di Montalcino is Brunello has to stay at the winery for 5 years. So in the meantime, they got to make some money. So they'll take part of their harvest, or they'll take harvest from different vineyards, make wines that can be released within a year, and that's labeled as Rosso di Montalcino. And what I like to look for in a Rosso di Montalcino, this one here, is a vintage that has been identified as a real premium vintage for Brunello, because that means that the Rosso is going to be really good and at a really good value. The Rosso is about a third of the price of the Brunello, but made by the same winemakers in the same winery, using grapes from a similar area. Sometimes the vineyards are lower in the valley, whereas the Brunellos are on the mountain slopes. But in a year like 2016, which this one is, where the vintage was spectacular, there's a limit to the amount of Brunello they're allowed to release. So the remaining grapes from the Brunello vineyards, they will then use those in the Rosso. So that makes that wine spectacular.
Nice.
And so this is exciting. This is actually a wine you could open on Christmas Day too.
Are you drinking all these wines every day?
No, I am not drinking all these wines every day. I'll open some, because this one in particular is one that you'd want to let rest for a little while yet. It's still got some life in it. You want to let it, so I'm not going to open it right away. But that's the case with some of those wines. But no, I haven't been drinking every bottle every day. That would be crazy.
So you get a bottle, you receive a bottle like this. What are we pairing it with, or what are some of the things, a couple of things that we could have with it to really enjoy it?
Yeah. So when you're dealing with wine, one of the biggest things to do is pair a regional wine with regional food.
Okay,
so,
makes sense.
So with a Rosso di Montalcino, famous for their charcuterie in the area.
Okay.
So a nice charcuterie platter would be awesome with this wine. They make beautiful fresh pastas with tomato and basil, and so something, because there's a nice acidity level in the wine, which would match very well with the acidity level in a tomato-based sauce.
Yeah.
But you could also have it with like lamb ossobuco.
Okay.
So you use some lamb, make an ossobuco with lamb, and the Rosso, it's a really nice wine, and I wouldn't mind using some of the Rosso in the sauce to just add a little punch to it. Yeah. Not a lot of it, because you want to drink the Rosso.
Now, I know for myself, I only became a red wine drinker later. I would say it took me some time to really appreciate a good red wine. So for the people who are listening and maybe red is not their thing, is there a white or even a rosé right now you can recommend that would, make somebody's day?
Yeah. So there's quite a few great white wine. I'll start with, a lot of people, that's the way they enter the world of wine. Yeah. Back in my day, you started with Baby Duck, and then you graduated to the classy whites like Black Power and Blue Nun. And slowly over time, your palate develops and you get into some reds and everything. But I still love white wines. I drink them not quite as often as I drink reds. For this season, nice, crisp, acidic white wines like Rieslings from Alsace. Great for your Christmas dinner or your holiday dinner if you're having turkey and ham. They match up very well. There's some fabulous Rieslings that you can get at the SAQ from either the Wilm, Alsatian Rieslings from Wilm and from Pfaff. So they have some great Rieslings that you could have during this time of year. So that would what I recommend if you're thinking of planning something for your holiday dinner. That's the way to go. And then sparkling wine is always great with turkey. So, and for celebrating.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have any tips for us when it comes to picking our wines in terms of preferences? Like some people like an oaky white, some people prefer a fruity white. I'm not, I always used to say, I don't like the reds that, make your mouth kind of like, that dry taste. What are a couple things that we should look out for when we're maybe trying a new wine?
Yeah, that's a great question. Great question, Natalie. And fortunately, there's a lot of resources out there to help you with that.
Great.
There's one online resource that I like to refer to, and it's Carl Knows Wine. And
please, Carl Knows. Tell us more.
So Carl Knows Wine. I mean, there's a lot of information that I have on my websites. I do some articles in my websites. On my Facebook page, I'm putting something just about every day, and on my Instagram account as well. But you can just contact me, and if you got any questions, I'd be happy to help answer them.
Okay? Perfect.
But if you're at the liquor store and you're wondering, I want to try something different, the SAQ has done a really good job of creating their little pastilles. The little pastilles.
Yes, right? That's right.
So say you there's a wine you really like, and but you want to find something similar, then look at that, find out what the pastille is for that wine. So it could be fruité vif or fruité rond, aromatique et charneux. These are the different combinations. Yeah. And then go and find something that has the same pastille. And that is a way that you can pick something
that would be a pretty simple way. I have to say, I probably have done that.
Yeah. And then in the Sélection stores, most of the Sélection stores have some really, really good conseillers en vin.
Oh, yes.
And they're very helpful as well. And they'll help you if you tell them what you like to drink normally. They have a good grasp on, especially in their specialty items. that don't necessarily have the pastilles developed because they're not regular products, they'll be able to lead you in the right direction.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And then, if you're trying to move, if you want to try some reds and you're a white wine drinker and you want to graduate, as I say, to red wine, they can help you how to get there in a step-by-step process. So you're not getting hit with this big punchy red wine, like you mentioned, the big tannic wines that it's like you're drinking an oversteeped cup of tea, which, you know, that's my cup of tea for wine, pardon the pun.
Perfect. Carl, I really am grateful for your tips and tricks today. I'm glad you shared your advent calendar with us. For those of you who want to know more about wine, who maybe are planning an event for 2021 and didn't know where to go, I know that Carl has been helping teams around the Montreal area really celebrate over Zoom with wines and pairings. So please reach out to Carl at Carl Knows Wine. I'm going to make sure to put all his information down below the video so that you can get in touch with him. Carl, thank you so much for being with me today.
Natalie, thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed this. I was excited about it since you asked me, and I've been really looking forward to it, and it was great.
Well, you know, you're a guy after my own heart, man. I love a great bottle of wine anytime. So definitely we're going to be looking into those. I've noted the one that you talked about today, and I'm going to look for that next time I visit the SAQ. So for those of you who have just joined us, my name is Natalie. I'm a communication coach with Master Authentic Voice, and this is Noon with Natalie. And my special guest today was Carl Bird from Carl Knows Wine. Carl, thanks again for being here.
Thanks, Natalie. Have a happy holiday to you and all your listeners.
Take care. Bye for now.